Good evening, it's 8 o'clock. The top headlines tonight. Exclusive images show China's new mission Indian Ocean target India. Exclusive images of a new Chinese battleship now in Africa. Chinese ships now in Africa, Pakistan, Sri Lanka. A boat with AK-47s found abandoned off the Maharashtra coast. The boat belongs to an Australian woman. Home Minister Devendra Fadnavis says they're checking for any terror angle. 1,000 crore freebies to prescribe Dolo, claims a petition filed in the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court hearing this says it's a serious matter. Justice Chandrachud says even I was prescribed Dolo. The government is now ordered to respond in 10 days. A 9-year-old Dalit boy's murder, now the cover-up. 7 hospitals in 23 days. The fight to save their son. NDTV's ground report. RBI says it's the most heartening development that inflation is easing. They say the inflation rate has now peaked in April, will now come down. Also, meanwhile, from Sunil Mittal of Airtel on 5G, that first time my 30 years experience, business as it should be. For payment for spectrum, no fuss, no follow-up, no running around. Record placements for IIT Madras, beating the pandemic, new placement highs. Well, let's just go across to our lead story tonight. Exclusive images of the Chinese Navy base in Djibouti. What is the larger implications of this? Vishnu has the details. Vishnu.
All right, well, it is fairly significant. Let's give you details of exactly what it is that we are talking about. Satellite images sourced by NDTV indicate that China's naval base in Djibouti on the Horn of Africa is now fully operational, and it supports Chinese warships deployed in the Indian Ocean region. Let's roll these images. Why is this important for us? Well, China's presence in Djibouti is part of a detailed plan to establish its presence in the Indian Ocean, directed not just at the Indian Navy but the US Navy as well, which has major bases in the Persian Gulf. So, images of this fully operational base in Djibouti come at a time when China has docked a 25,000-ton satellite and ballistic missile tracking ship in Hambantota in Sri Lanka. We'll talk about that as well. But first, this is the area that we are talking about, Djibouti in Africa. Gwadar in Pakistan, where China is building a base, and Hambantota in Sri Lanka, where China has a 99-year lease. So 3 bases that you can see over there, Hambantota effectively being theirs. But let's have this up full screen. This is the Chinese base in Djibouti, built at a cost of $590 million and under construction since 2016. It's located near the strategic Bab el-Mandeb Strait, which guards the approach to the Suez Canal, one of the most critical channels of international commerce. Significantly, the images from Maxar, which we have, show a Chinese Yuzhou class landing ship. You can see it over there, docked along a 320-meter long berthing area located near an apron that supports helicopter operations. Now, this is a large 25,000-ton vessel designed to embark up to 800 soldiers and a combination of vehicles, air-cushioned landing craft and helicopters. Elsewhere, there's an apron for helicopter operations that you see on your screen up there. Now, in this image taken less than a week back, there appear to be training activities done on the runway on your screen. A short distance away, a new building is under construction. And the containers set up here are likely to support urban counter-terrorism and training centers. There's actually missions being planned over there, counter-terrorism training. And finally, in this image, you can see a wide shot of all of what we've described so far, the ship, the base, the training facilities, all of it. But one more image, a look at that same Chinese satellite and missile observation ship which we've been speaking about, the Yuan-15. This is a picture from yesterday. It remains in Hambantota. We've marked its satellite and communication dishes. It's berthed next to an oil tank farm and it's likely being refueled. So think about it, being refueled at a time when Sri Lanka hardly has enough fuel for its own citizens. Sonia.
Right, so important geopolitical developments happening there, Vishnu. Also important is the fact that India's National Security Advisor is currently in Russia. The United States today responded on that.
India's National Security Advisor Ajit Doval meeting his Russian counterpart Nikolai Patrushev in Moscow at a time when the Putin regime is an international pariah for the West after Ukraine's invasion. Reports say India is also expected to participate in joint military exercises called Vostok 2022 with not just Russia but also China. When asked about India's participation, a US State Department spokesperson said India's historical ties with Russia make it difficult for New Delhi to shift its policy away from Russia.
This is not flipping a light switch. This is something that, especially for countries that have historical relationships with Russia, relationships that, as is the case with India, extend back decades, it is going to be a long-term proposition to reorient foreign policy away from Russia.
However, India has faced flack from Ukraine after Foreign Minister Jaishankar explained that it was his moral duty to source cheaper oil from Russia, given the low average income in India.
And we have been very open and very honest about our interest. You know, I have a country which has a per capita income of $2,000. These are not people who can afford higher energy prices. It is my obligation, my moral duty to actually ensure that I get them the best deal that I can from the world.
Ukrainian Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba said, when India purchases Russian crude oil, they have to understand that the discount has to be paid by Ukrainian blood. Every barrel of Russian crude that India gets has a good portion of Ukrainian blood in it. From a very aggressive posture from America weeks into the Ukraine war, when it threatened India with consequences over its energy engagement with Russia, to a much nuanced approach now regarding even a joint military exercise with Russia. New Delhi believes that this has been possible only because India decided to be non-aligned and look at the situation from the prism of its own national interest. In New Delhi, Maha Siddiqui for NDTV.
Other big headline tonight, bringing back memories of 2611. Today, an abandoned boat found in the Raigad district coast with 3 AK-47s and cartridges on board this abandoned boat. It's apparently owned by an Australian woman. The boat has now been towed away. They're saying this has nothing to do with terror, but Home Minister Devendra Fadnavis said it is being investigated, though there is no terror angle found in this case yet.
An abandoned boat washed up on the beach 200 kilometers south of Mumbai. Found in it were 3 AK rifles and several cartridges. The government says boat belongs to an Australian woman. On June 26 this year, there was an engine failure, after which the people on the boat were saved, but the boat could not be towed. But there's no explanation for the weapons. However, the Deputy Chief Minister ruled out a terror angle.
इस बोट का नाम लेडी हान है। इसकी मालिक एक ऑस्ट्रेलियन महिला है। उस महिला के पति इस बोट के कप्तान है और ये बोट मस्कत से यूरोप की ओर जा रही थी। देखिए, टेरर एंगल के संदर्भ में अभी कोई पुष्टि नहीं मिली है।
The local MLA in Raigad is worried about the timing. Days before the popular Ganpati festival.
हमने डिमांड की है कि इसमें ATS की या फिर स्टेट एजेंसी की एक स्पेशल टीम अपॉइंट होनी चाहिए अर्जेंट बेसिस पे.
In view of the seriousness of the matter, security was increased on all the beaches, as well as searches are being carried out on the boats. It has happened in a state scarred by the 2611 attacks when terrorists came by boat. With Pravinji Rohit and Sohit Mishra in Mumbai, Rika Roy for NDTV.
Well, in other news, a petition in the Supreme Court, where the hearing was today, said that 1,000 crore freebies have been paid to doctors across India to prescribe the popular anti-fever medicine Dolo. A PIL filed today against pharmaceutical companies giving the freebies to doctors. The medical representatives body moved the Supreme Court today, saying that Dolo invested over 1,000 crores in freebies to prescribe its drug. This is based on recent income tax rates. Justice Chandrachud, who's hearing the case, said, even I was asked to have Dolo when I had COVID. The Supreme Court has asked the centre to respond to the PIL within 10 days. Our special report tonight. In Rajasthan's Jalore, the brutal killing of a 9-year-old boy who's a scheduled caste has now become an issue of political back and forth. But for the trauma of the family went through is something which isn't being impacted by this politics. Today, the parents spoke to NDTV Saurabh Shukla, where they talked of how they went to 7 hospitals in 23 days to try and save their child.
Surana village of Jalore district, about 230 kilometers from Jodhpur, Rajasthan. 9-year-old Indra's mother mourns for her son, as does his 50-year-old father, Devram. Devram alleges that his son, who was studying in class 3, was thrashed on July 20th by the headmaster of the school, Chail Singh, just because his son had drunk water from a pot allegedly meant for upper castes only. The teacher is an upper caste, the family scheduled caste. The student had serious injuries on his ear and eyes due to the beating. Devram took his son to 7 hospitals in 5 cities from 20th July to 13th August. But finally, Indra died on the 13th of August in Ahmedabad's government hospital.
हमको पता चला मेरे कांधे के मास्टर मारा है, मैं सूरनम गयो अस्पताल।
तो मतलब आप कम से कम 10 अस्पताल गए, फिर अंत में आप गए अहमदाबाद।
इस दड़ा में ये घूम रहा, बहुत खर्चा करा।
We visited Indra's school, the dilapidated Saraswati Vidya Mandir in the village, with kids studying sitting on the ground. This school is only until grade 8, where about 300 children study. 64 of them belong to scheduled castes and tribes. We met Ashok Kumar, the new headmaster of the school. A scheduled caste himself, he was appointed after Indra died, and the upper caste headmaster was arrested. He defends his predecessor, denying caste had anything to do with the thrashing.
उस बात को लेकर मेरा ये कहना है कि सभी बच्चे टाके से पानी पीते हैं, जो भी बालक वगैरह है ना, उनके भी आप पूछ सकते हो कि सभी बच्चे कहाँ से पानी पीते हैं।
तो मटके वाली बात से आप इत्तेफाक नहीं रखते?
नहीं रखते सर, मटके वाली और उस बालक के से नहीं रखते सर।
We also spoke with Indra's classmate Rajesh. According to Rajesh, he and Indra were quarreling over a book, so the teacher slapped both of them.
क्या हुआ था उस दिन?
उस दिन हम दोनों झगड़ रहे थे, शैल सिंह ने आके हम दोनों को एक थप्पड़ मारा था।
दुर्भाग्य से 13 तारीख को जब बच्चे की डेथ हुई है, उसके बाद ये FIR दी गई है और 302 और धारा 3 SC/ST एक्ट में, JJ एक्ट में मुकदमा दर्ज किया गया है।
In the face of protests by the opposition BJP and turmoil in his own party, Rajasthan's Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot has tweeted that the arrest happened immediately and that assistance was given to the family. 20 lakh rupees were given from his party, the Congress.
When we spoke with the people and the dynamics of the villages, that caste is dominant factor. Police is investigating the matter. Truth will come out. But we cannot deny the fact that there is no caste, everybody is happy here. Caste is dominant and it is reality of this village and our society as well. In Jalore, with Ashwani Mehra and Ganpat Singh, Saurabh Shukla for NDTV.
And news coming in from Karnataka, where rumours continue about the Chief Minister Bommai being replaced before elections in the state, just 8 months away. But today, Arun Singh, who is in charge of Karnataka for the BJP, said there's no question of replacing Mr. Bommai. Meanwhile, former Chief Minister Yedurappa and the current Chief Minister are going to Tirupati for blessings.
I think the media should not ask such questions because this is a ridiculous question. There is no reply for such question. I have told many times that this question should not come, because a common man who is working for the poor, who is working for the farmers, SC and ST, he is doing very good work for the Karnataka people, common man. So such questions should not come. He is our Chief Minister. He will remain our Chief Minister. Will contest under his leadership.
Well, moving from that, let's see what happens in the Karnataka political potboiler. But let's go across to the latest on the RBI's August bulletin. So, Priyanshi, the RBI at least being very positive on this.
Right, Sonia, many positive signs coming from the Reserve Bank of India, and that too on something that impacts all of us, the price rise. The Reserve Bank is saying that inflation might have peaked in the month of April, and that's important because with this, the Reserve Bank is saying that the maximum price rise that we saw must have been in the month of April, and after that, inflation will only come down. We've seen in the last 3 months as well, inflation has come down for the last 3 months straight, and the Reserve Bank is saying the trend will continue for the rest of the year, and in fact, inflation will come down to 5% by April, June just next year, from 7% a month ago to 5% next year. And that's important, Sonia, because that 5% figure means that inflation will finally be in the Reserve Bank's comfort level. The Reserve Bank's comfort level is under 6%. And if inflation comes to 5%, that means it will be in that comfort level. But all's not well currently. It's not a comfortable state. The Reserve Bank has reiterated that there might be more policy moves that will be warranted because of the current state. As we know, inflation has been above 6%. So that means that the Reserve Bank is sort of signaling more interest rate hikes to bring inflation back to the target of 6%. But on the economy overall as well, the Reserve Bank is really positive. They say that the domestic economy is showing signs of widening. The monsoon has been above normal. The Kharif sowing season is also progressing really well. All of those reasons contributing to growing economic activity. And even on foreign inflows, the Reserve Bank says that India is becoming a preferred destination for foreign portfolio inflows. Just this month, we've seen more than 41,000 crores being invested by foreign investors in Indian equities. And that's major because ever since October last year to June this year, they were actually taking money out of India. But now they're finally coming back from the month of June and from the month of July, and in the month of August, they've invested over 41,000 crore. So definitely positive signs from the Reserve Bank of India. It's not a comfortable situation yet, but it might just be by next year.
Right. So let's see how it goes. We hope that there are no more global headwinds and, of course, any disastrous weather or climate change events. But let's hope the RBI's predictions do come true. But also 5G spectrum allocation. Well, that's going on. The telecom minister tweeting that it's now up to the telecom operators to get ready. And Airtel chairman Sunil Mittal has today said that this is business as it should be, saying our 5G spectrum was allocated within the hours of payment. No fuss, no follow-up, no running around. Sunil Mittal there saying, in my 30 years of experience, this is the first time that I've seen business as it should be. Well, in other news, Jacqueline Fernandez's lawyer has reacted today to the Enforcement Directorate filing charges of money laundering against her, saying that she received gifts which were bought by the proceeds of corruption, in this case extortion. But Jacqueline's lawyer saying she was cheated and conned. Arvind has more details. Now, Arvind, really coming out in the statements that you've got access to, the fact that Jacqueline Fernandez thought that Sukesh Chandrasekhar, the conman who's in Tihar jail, was a nephew of Jayalalitha.
Yeah, Sonia, in fact, during the confrontation of both Sukesh Chandrasekhar and also Jacqueline Fernandez, and that's where Jacqueline Fernandez told the Enforcement Directorate officials that Sukesh Chandrasekhar, who was lodged in Tihar jail at that particular point of time, approached Jacqueline Fernandez and identified himself as Shekhar Ratnavela, the owner of a TV channel, a popular TV channel in Tamil Nadu, and also as a nephew of Jayalalitha, the former Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu. And that's where she is saying that she is also a victim because she was also cheated by Sukesh Chandrasekhar by deceiving her to make her believe that he is actually from a political family. And that's where she is using that as a strong ground, saying that she is not part of any of this particular case, but whereas she is also one among the victims of Sukesh Chandrasekhar. And also very importantly, we have exclusively accessed this particular confrontation statement that was recorded by the Enforcement Directorate that also gives that detail of how Sukesh Chandrasekhar Chandrasekhar also got in touch with Jacqueline Fernandez, and also how the gifts were exchanged between both of them. Because as per the confrontation statement, Jacqueline Fernandez say that she got to know, or she got in touch with Sukesh Chandrasekhar sometime in February 2021, and most of the time they were in constant touch through WhatsApp calls, and she also confesses to the enforcement director that she met only twice Sukesh Chandrasekhar.
Also, why it's interesting at this point that Jacqueline Fernandez is going through a great phase in her career. She's got movies coming up with Akshay Kumar and Ranveer Singh. So, two big movies coming up, and she's actually posted about how she has to stay strong, that it's all going to be okay, and she believes that things will turn out all right in the end. Well, that's the latest on that. Arvind, thanks for those details. But meanwhile, it's good news from IIT Madras, which has had its best placement season ever. Sam Daniel has the story.
Record placements at IIT Madras this year. At 1,430 job offers, it's the best ever placement season for India's top-ranked institute. After 2 years of the COVID pandemic that slowed recruitments across institutions, Siva Subramanian, an M.Tech from IIT Madras, is excited. He specialized in electrical engineering and data science and has taken up a lucrative job offered by an MNC of the 4 offers he received.
So long term, it's about contributing back to the country and see how that can happen. So probably a startup, or from being a job seeker to a job provider.
45 job offers at IIT Madras came for jobs overseas. The best salary, a whopping $250,000 package.
We have great research and development activities going on here. Students are participating in that. Faculty have taken that experience into classrooms.
With ranking and placements on top gear, IIT Madras is now trying to establish itself in emerging areas, including data science and medical science technologies, besides improving its research and public perception to come up in world ranking, now at 250. In Chennai with Suresh, Sam Daniel, for NDTV.